All right, good day, guys. Thank you so much for joining today's meeting. So we're going to continue from where we stopped last week. So last week we were looking at color and typography as brand elements. We looked at how imagery, how color, how they affect like the look and feel of like brands. And then we had some assignments to do, and I'm guessing that we must have done them by now. So today we're going to move further. Last week I wanted to show us how to create a color like style and then typography style inside of like Figma basically. But our time did not permit. So we're going to do it practically. And for today, Aisha is going to be helping us. She's going to show us how to create color styles inside of Figma and how to create text styles inside of Figma. So first of all, when we look at styles or a style guide, color and typography are elements of a style guide. That is not all. There are things like shadow, radiuses, a lot more effects, basically. There are other effects that you can add to a style guide, even patterns, even components, depending on how you look at it. But we're going to start very basic. We're going to start with color and then we're going to look at typography. So yeah, over to you, Aisha. Can you help us?
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. So basically, I'm going to be showing how we can create our color style guides in Figma. So I will be starting with the colors. I already created my colors, but I would delete the primary colors so that we can see how we can do it on Figma. So basically, when you add the color, you'll be able to see it on your left-hand side of your Figma interface. So let me clear the primary colors. Okay, so let's get started. The primary colors. For you to create a style, um, when you click on an element on your Figma board, you can see the color that is attached to it. You can see it as fill. So upon clicking that, you can,
Aisha,
um,
Aisha, sorry to
yeah.
interrupt you. Please, I want you to make a clarification. So, first of all, maybe you can explain to us what are primary colors. That's one. And then number two is that how did you actually generate the palette? Like, how did you come across this 50 to 500? If you'd like to explain. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. Primary colors are usually the colors that you know most brands for. Um, Yeah, so for example, MTN, using that as an example, we all know that yellow is their color. So we can say that yellow and black are MTN colors, but they mostly use yellows in most of their website designs and branding. So yellow is their their primary color because that's what is more prominent in whatever they are doing. Occasionally, you see black, which can be categorized as secondary color. Some other brands have some other colors that they mix in here and there. For example, if you check Reddit's app or their website, they have some other colors that they mix in with their primary and secondary colors just to make everything. The tertiary colors or the accent colors are just colors that they use to ensure that whenever they want to call action or call a user's attention to something, they use accent colors because they are usually not they're usually used very sparingly in a design. So they are more used towards grabbing attention of the users. And additionally, for the way I was able to create these palettes based on 50, 7500, um I was able, the first thing is that there are so many ways you can create palettes. We have Atlassian, we have material design. If you are using material design, you probably see 5075 all the way to you see all the way to 950. But because I'm using Atlassian's design guide, so it ends with 500. And there is I don't know, do you want me to talk about plugins? because I was able to kind of generate the colors using plugins. So
Yeah,
I
you can
don't know
show us.
if I can.
You can maybe pick another color that is not green and show us.
Okay, great.
You can use green.
Okay, so yes. So there's a particular plugin on Figma that I use. Um, so the name of the plugin is Foundation, and it's a color generator, and it has all these brands style guide that they use. For example, there's Orbit, there's Atlassian, there's Material Design, like I have mentioned, and then there's Ant Design. So, like I said, I used Atlassian because I don't know, I just really want to have to work on with a lot of colors. But there are some times that you need material design. You can see material design has more options. So, basically, for example, this is purple, and if you want to like get like a palette, foundation plugin can help you create a palette. So let's see it generate a palette. This is the palette. So you can see it generates the name of the color, the X code, and then the RGB code. Additionally, it also shows the WCAG contrast code. I don't know. Then you can explain that better, but basically it's just supposed to show you contrast between a color. For example, if you use black on this, you can show that okay to show properly. So you can see it has 17.4. But if you use white on this color, it does not contrast well. People will not be able to see it. That's why you are seeing 1.21. I guess we'll be covering that more later when we're talking about accessibility. But that's just that about the palette. But for my own design, I actually designed the way the palette look like by myself. So you can always do that for yourself. So let's just get into creating the colors. Let me create the first primary color. Um, when you click on a item on the Figma board, you can see the color, you can see the fill, and then you can click on these there are several ways for you to actually create colors. But firstly, click on this grid color, and then you can see this add button, grid icon rather, and then you can see the add icon. Upon clicking that, you can see it shows us this color code is the same as this, and then you can name it whatever you want. So we are creating a style, not a variable. So since it's a style, we'll be seeing name is primary, or let's just say primary, then slash 50. So in you might want to create like folders for each of your color just to make everything look um much more neat. For example, you might have a lot of colors, especially if it's a brand that deals with a lot of things. So you might have primary, secondary accents, and having everything just stacked up on each other may not look good. So that's why you can use folders for them. And I'll show you how the folder will look like. So I'm creating the first primary color, which is primary 50. And you should be able to see it. So when we come here, you can see it has created primary 50. So I'm just going to move it up. And you can see that it is under a folder. So you can easily collapse it. This is the secondary color. You can easily collapse it. Grays, you can easily collapse it. So everything looks neater for you. And then I'm going to be creating the second color. Basically, I think I mentioned that there are different ways to create colors. So another way you can use to create color is when you see these styles aspect on your left hand side, you can see you can either create a text or a color. So clicking on color, you can see I can use the color picker to choose what this color is, and then I can just name it primary slash 75, and then I've created my style. So let's see, now it's here. So great, thank you so much. Because we're running out of time, I don't think then should I create all the primary colors, or should I move into the typography aspect
You
because
can
of
go to
time?
typography.
Okay. Okay, so I've not created any typography styles on this file because I wanted to show it during this call. So basically, like I said, just like the colors, there are different ways for you to create your there are different ways for you to create your type styles, text styles rather. So I'll be creating the heading first, and you can see the font I'm using or the typeface I'm using is just, and I'm using the bold font. So for me to create this, just like I said with the colors, you see this grid button or grid icon, and then you can see add. And then since this is heading one, great style. Then let's see. You can see under textiles, you can now see heading one. Then use the second, let me use the second way to create the textile. So just like I showed with colors, you can come to styles, select the add button, and you can see text. So I'm creating heading two, and then it's going to be typeface just, and then going to be bold and font size 48. And then the sorry, the I forgot to this the line height is going to be 56. Create style. Okay, so we've created the styles, text styles using both options. I don't know if there's another way to create them. You could also create them um using plugins. There are several plugins that can make this faster for you. For example, if you have a lot of colors, you don't want to start generating everything for each by yourself. You can see styles. I think I have a plugin, yes, styler. So basically, it can create your styles for you. Um, you can explore that and see what the results will be for you. But then can I hand over to you?
Okay, no problem. You can do that. Let me
Thank
share
you.
my screen so that I'll just show you some things. I'll just try to give more context to what Aisha has done, and then we can just carry. Just- let me know when you can see my. Um, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Sorry, I thought I was unmuted. Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, can you see this one? What we did last week? Is that what you can see?
No, I can see a Behance
Oh,
page.
sorry, let me see. Let me share again. I'm coming. Desktop two. Okay, you can see my screen now, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, let me just give some context to what Aisha said. So first of all, when it comes to like creating styles, one of the reasons why it's important to have like a color range is because, for instance, she didn't show like the okay, let me just okay, I think I can show from here. So she created some buttons. One of the reasons why you need to have like at least seven like different styles within a color range is because when you have like a button or for different like components within the design, you need like different variations of the same color. So we can see that here is actually green, but this is like different like green that she's using, different shade, different things. If she did not create like a color style, she will not be able to do this. Like if she had just one color green, you won't be able to have like all these states. And if you check the different button, you will see that okay, oh, she's detached it already because she has deleted it. But you'll have seen that there are some styles that she's actually using here. Let me see with this gray. Okay, yeah, you can see with this gray, for instance, there is gray 500. You can see like that, 300. All these are pulling from a color style that she has created. So very important when we're talking about color or textiles, there are two ways. So there is a way whereby, as I said, you start from scratch, like what she was trying to show. And then there's another use case where you can pull from existing design system or existing like style guides. For instance, now this one that I have here, I'm pulling from an existing project that I worked on. I just changed the color, but this is actually the structure that I use for that particular project. And so another thing that she also mentioned that is important is that when it comes to creating your color styles or textiles, naming is very important, like how you name. So in the way she did her own, she was naming them like you get one by one and then trying to name all of them together. But in this case, I what I did was I named all of them already. If you notice, this one is regular and then is regular slash type at 84. If you look at this one too, like that slash that is there allows it to create like a folder. So for instance, if I create it as a star, for instance, it will have the name will be regular and then the sub name will now be this type at 72. Let me just show you. So if you select this one and say, let me see. Okay, is it on design? Let me see. Okay, create details. Okay, let me see. Wait, now. Oh, wait, I'm coming. Let me undo. Know what I'm supposed to touch. Okay, let me use a plugin. So there's a particular plugin that makes it easy. Let me just select all this one so you see what I'm trying to say. Plugin is called Styler. Um, okay, okay, so you just click on generate stuff. Let's wait a little bit. Mistake. Okay, so it said that's created 12. So it has created the styles because I used the plugin. What Aisha was doing was that she was selecting each of them and then she was manually creating. But if you name them very well, I mean, if you name the text very well, you'll be able to just create multiple, like you get text styles at once. Same with the colors too. If you look at these colors now, for instance, this is neutral. I've named them. You can see neutral slash 10, neutral slash 20. That slash just allows it to create like a subfolder. So for instance, if you look at this regular, it's regular and then type at 84. This is the font I'm looking at, this one here. You can see that I named it regular slash type at 84. And then if you check here, regular is like the first name that you see. That slash puts all these things inside of the folder. So we have type at 12, type at 14, because that's how I named it here. And then for the neutrals too, if you look at it, it is neutral slash 10, neutral slash 20, 30, 40, like that. If I select all of them like this and I use that same plugin, let me go styler and I click on generate styles, you can see it says created 10. So if I go back to my left hand panel now, you can see that there's a new color style that is called neutral, and we have 10 to 100. So as I said, it's important that we have different ranges for different style guides, basically at different elements. So like the buttons that she showed you in Aisha's own, you can see that she's using different, it's still black or it's still gray, depending on how you look at it. But there are different shades and different things that she's using. Because I also mentioned that we should look at buttons in our assignment. Buttons have like different states. There is the default, there is over, there is pressed, there is fixed. Sorry, there's default, there's over, there is pressed, there is disabled. Let me see, what's this one? Okay, there's enable. Okay, let me see. There is default, there is over, there is focused, there's focused, there's pressed, and then there's disabled state. So the way you can make all this work is because you already have like a style guide. Um, let's go back to our learning. So yeah, that's really how to create like both your text and your color styles. Like I said, there's actually more to this, so I want us to go and do some more research. There can be also styles for even, she was explaining variables, but variables may be too complex. You may not exactly need that unless you're working on a complex project. But for now, when you're looking at styles, there are different things that make up a style guide, or for instance, a component or a style library. There are also components like buttons, like she had. There are different things. I would want us to go and explore more on that. For instance, other effects like shadow and blurs, all those things can be part of a style guide. So yeah, that's really like all on style guide I will cover. I want us to, as I said, do more research. If you have more questions, please feel free to ask on the group chat. Like Aisha also said, most of all these things, depending on the use case, they may give you like a primary color, for instance, which is like the brand color. Like she was giving the example of MTN, or they may say, okay, they don't have anything. And if you don't have anything, it means that you have to design from scratch. And that's where plugins like that foundation that she mentioned is very important. You can see the way she used it. You just put in like a color code there and you generate like all the, what's the word, all the different shades and things. Then you just have to name them properly, like the way this is named. And then you can now create them as style guide basically. So yeah, that's really what we are going to just look at on that. Today we're supposed to look at personas and empathy map. Personas and empathy map. That's actually like our learning for today. And okay, so I'll just quickly ask, who can help us? What's a persona and then what's like empathy map? Aisha, can you help us? What's a persona and what's empathy map?
Okay. Um, so a persona is like a representation of who your user is. For example, if you are working on like an app that is for like an healthcare app, for example, your persona will probably be someone that has like an health condition that usually needs like they usually need to or they have an health condition that needs them to continually take care of their health. So that is like a representation of who your target audience is. So just it might be, I think some people use more than one or two persona, but yeah, I think it depends on how many target users you have. So you can have it a persona to represent a target audience or user. I don't know if I if I explained it properly. Yeah.
All right, okay, thank you very much. So I will just show us because I expect that we have gone through the Medium article. Our Medium article actually talks a lot about personas and empathy maps. So I want to believe that we have gone through it. And if you have not gone through it, all these are like well explained there. But I want to show us like a particular project that I worked on some months or a while ago, basically. And I want to just show us is a fitness application. It's a case study like I did on Behance. I think this is the best way to like explain basically. So it's a fitness application for like fitness enthusiasts. That's what name of the application is Track. And it's a mobile application. It's a user-centric fitness application that allows fitness enthusiasts to set personalized fitness goals, track their progress, and participate in community challenges. So basically, let me just keep all these parts. Let me go back to okay. Yeah. So user persona. So like Aisha said, you can have like different personas basically. It doesn't have to be one. But in this case, the more narrow it is, the better for you, especially when you're starting out on a product. If you're starting out on a, for instance, an MVP or starting out as a startup, you cannot have plenty personas because first of all, you cannot design for everybody. You cannot solve for everybody. You focus on a target group that is like your majority or that carries weight in that sense. And then you focus on them. And then when you get successful and you launch, then you can now begin to focus on like other users, basically, like other target groups, basically. But for this particular use case on this particular application, my persona was like, I used to. So I used a particular like busy person. So, for instance, if you go to the gym, there are more than two categories, but let's just say there are two categories of people that you may meet there. You may meet someone who is actually like a fitness enthusiast that actually comes to the gym to work out and they want to get better. And that's what this lady represents, a fitness enthusiast. And she actually likes to work out. You can see that she's built like you get someone that's been working out. And then there is somebody else again who is like a busy person that they usually have maybe 9 to 5 and then they just close from work and they're very tired and they also want to work out. If you are building, those are like different target groups. They can also be, for instance, maybe old people. Although it's not here, for instance, but under user persona can be old people. For instance, there are people that are very old and they just want to, they're not coming to the gym to like really build muscles in that sense or do like every intensity stuff. They just want to live on like a maintenance kind of lifestyle, like, okay, let me just be active. That's a different category entirely from these two people. But for this particular application, I focused on just these two people. So a persona just helps us to personalize or apply empathy basically to our application. That means that you're not designing for just a random person. There's a particular person in mind or a particular target, you get individual. So in this particular case, I had two. One was a busy person, a busy executive, or a busy like You got these working class people that are very busy and still need to keep a healthy lifestyle. And in this other case, is someone who is actually a fitness enthusiast that likes, you get, maybe viewing videos in the gym and all those kind of stuff. So those are two categories that I had there. And this is just, like I said, personas will tell you about the particular target group, what are their emotional drivers, like about them, what are their goals and motivation, what are their challenges. And this is like for this particular person, and then for this particular person here. And he explains very well like what their challenges and about them basically. And the next one is empathy map. So like I think I shall also mention that empathy map really tells us, okay, when you talk about your persona, what do they say, what do they feel, what do they do, what do they think, what they hear. And if you look at our what's the word, you look at our write-up, it actually tells us like a lot of things. You can see what do they say, what they think, what they do, what they feel. This is like a guideline basically. So just go back to here. We can see what this person thinks and feels, what he hears, and then what he says and do. So this is just like an empathy map for this particular like persona. And then for this particular one, you can see that our own they have different target groups. So you can see for her, she wants to stay fit and inspire her followers. That's what she thinks. But for this guy now, he needs to just stay healthy despite his packed schedule. That means that there are two different reasons that this guy will want to use my application, and then this lady will do it because she wants to stay fit and for social media, whatever, whatever. But for this guy now, you can see that his own, he wants to stay like healthy despite his schedule. We can also see that he's stressed about finding time for fitness. That means that he doesn't even have a time, but and he wants to try to do better. But for this lady, you can see that she's already excited because she's staying active. She's trying new challenges. That means she has been doing before. She feels empowered. She wants to engage people with her content. But this guy now, you can see, doesn't even have work-life balance, and he still needs to be fit. So I'm just saying that these are just what's the word? A breakdown of empathy map and then personas basically. And this was part of our assignment for this week. Hopefully, we would do and then we're able to understand when we do our own research. So I'll just stop here for now as regards empathy map and then personas. Does anybody have any questions before I go to the next thing?
I don't have any questions.
All
Thank you.
right. Okay, no problem. So yeah, our next thing will be we're going to be looking at wireframes basically. So we're going to be looking at wireframes. Let me just delete all these things. That's our next week, like this topic that we're entering the next week. And I want to give us an assignment, which I will mention. But we are going to create wireframes. Aisha, you can help me note it on the group chat. But I want us to create two wireframes. We should do a mid fidelity, or let's say like a low fidelity and high fidelity wireframe of two applications that we use, like two screens basically. Do mid fidelity and do high fidelity. This should be like a walkover for like all of us here, basically, because I've been doing that before now. So we're going to do like a wireframe for like two different applications that we use, which must be different from anyone that you have used before, like in any of our submissions. So you can pick, for instance, let's say WhatsApp. You can do like wireframes for WhatsApp, and then you can do both a low fidelity and the high fidelity. Low fidelity and high fidelity. Let me show us. I think I have a project where I worked on. Let me see. Okay, let me just show us. I think it's easier for me to show from here. But I just want to show us. I'll still publish like the article later, but I'm just giving us like heads up. Let me find the particular project. Let me see. Oh yes, okay. So let me just show us. Our time is fast spent, but let me just give an idea of okay. So in this particular like screen that you can see, this is like a low fidelity like wireframe. This is a mid fidelity wireframe, and this is a high fidelity wireframe. What fidelity just means is how does your screen or your design fit the final product. So low fidelity means that it doesn't like it's not as close to the final product as mid fidelity, and then high fidelity, which is like the final product. So we can see here there's also conventions for how they create wireframes. All that I would try to explain in our article, and we can also do like more research. But basically, like you can see here, I did like three fidelities. So there's low, mid, and then there's high. So I want us to do low and high for two screens. So this one is Google Pay. So you can pick any application that you use basically and just do it for the low fidelity and then for the high fidelity. And that will be our assignment for this particular week. Do you have any questions or do we understand?
Can you please go over the assignment again?
So
Sorry,
we're
my
going to
network.
do Okay, we are going to do wireframes, and we are going to do low fidelity wireframe and high fidelity wireframe. And I want us to do it for two applications that we use on our phones. So just pick two different screens from a particular from any application, maybe two applications. Pick one screen from one, pick another screen from another one, and do the low fidelity and do high fidelity of any screen from the applications that you pick. Is it clear?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
All right. So we'll just do low and high. We're not going to do mid, low and high. And we can read more on it, but I'll publish the Medium article and then we can